This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
All right, Ross, the Road to Rotto Port to Pub edition is kicking off this week, actually.
Yeah, a couple of days. How are you feeling, firstly, before we get to our delightful guest?
Well, to be fair, after the Rotto Swim finished in a bit of a failure for everybody, it was tough to get motivated again. But now with the Port to Pub only a few days away, well, the end of the week, I'm starting to feel... I don't know if the right word is excited, because people throw that out too easily. Excited about swimming over 20 Ks is probably not the right word, but I'm feeling more confident about it as the days go on. So I'm up and about, but I'm really up and about our next guest, actually, Ross.
Yeah, one of your swimming buddies?
Yes. I met Justin Barton here one of the early days last year when I decided to join Kynwyn Roberts' Positive Swim group, and Bart's was in the group too. He's banging out the laps too, and he had the same vision of me. Let's swim to Rottnest. Why the hell would you want to do that, Bart? Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, good question, Shaun. It's one of those things where you don't wake up one morning and have a Forrest Gump moment and say, I just feel like swimming, and start swimming to Rottnest. It's, unless you're Kynwyn, who probably would do that. Look, it's one of those things, and as we've spoken about a number of times, and you speak with the number of people in the swim squad, there's lots of amazing stories out there and motivations of why people are doing this. And look, had my own stories and my own sort of bit of a challenge I went through, or have been through the last 10 years, and particularly the last 6 months. And a friend of mine asked me to just come down and have a swim, and next minute I've signed up to attempt a solo. So,
now you're a couple of days away from it. Now, you've had, quite a lead up to this. Would you mind sharing with us a bit of your story of what is motivating you behind this? Because there's a lot to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's we've had a few challenges. And look, the reason I'm doing it is for my kids and my young fella, Kai in particular. He was born with cystic fibrosis, so he's had some challenges his whole life, and he's had to have physio and medicine and treatment every day of his life, and so he's had a lot of challenges along the way, and we've sort of learned to live with that and make the most of that. And unfortunately, his mother and my beautiful wife, passed away about 8 years ago, which then threw another challenge into the mix, which made it a little bit more difficult. And thankfully, we had amazing family and friends.
But you're putting it so nicely, make it a bit more difficult. That would have been devastating and completely change your whole world.
Oh, it did. And look, we're still dealing with that. Today it's it's one of those things that you never forget and never leaves you. And and as the kids get older, and unfortunately they were quite young when my wife passed away, and so they. For one of them, they don't really remember their mum. For the other one, the memories are probably pretty sad. Seeing a mum pass away, and
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking.
How old were they, if you don't mind?
They were 5 and 8 at the time. So very young, so still young, at primary school and whatnot. And look, it was just it's one of those things you can never prepare for anything like that, and just had to pick up the pieces and make the most of it, and my focus obviously turned to my kids and just making sure they were all right and trying to get them through, and we're still facing that challenge now. So and as they get older and go through teen years, you face lots of different challenges, and without their mum around, it can be pretty tough for them at times. So
it can be pretty tough for you as well. That's because it's all you. There's a lot on you.
There is. Look, I've had my moments and my challenges, and which is sort of part of the motivation that sort of behind this swim. Look, I've had amazing support from friends and family, and I couldn't have got to where I am and the kids where we are today without them. And so look, I've had my ups and downs, and but we've been sort of getting by as best we can and making the most of everything. And then it was June last year actually. I haven't been away, and I went away for work, for a week. Hadn't left my kids for many years. It's sort of pretty hard to leave them, and don't want to leave them because I'm the only one around. But they were going really well, and I managed to end up going to work in outback Queensland with one of my staff for a week, and we were sort of riding outback Queensland, miles away from anywhere, and I I was checking into my kids each day. I was only away for a week, and they were going really well. And I was checking in on them each day. They were staying with some family, and I called my son one night just to check how he's going, and he said it was all right, but he sort of had a bit of a headache, and so I thought, I'll just touch base in the next morning and check on him. And he didn't really answer the phone, and I was in a remote area. I didn't have phone connection, so I thought, he's probably just not feeling too well. I then managed to get a phone call or message from the school saying he hadn't been to school, and thought, that's a bit strange,
right.
and it sort of escalated from there. And when I finally got hold of him, I spoke to him. I thought something's not right. I don't know what it is. And from that moment, I sort of got some family to go around and just check on him. And within half an hour of that moment, he was rushed to ICU at PCH and put in an induced coma, where he spent 2 months in hospital and in a coma for about a bit over a month. Look, I was another one of those things where I felt helpless. I was, miles
weren't even
away.
there.
Wasn't even there. I didn't know what was happening. The doctors were amazing at PCH, and they sort of kept me informed as best I can on my way back. It took me 24 hours to get back, and I didn't know what I was coming back to. I didn't know whether he was going to still be with us.
Yeah, wow.
It was the doctors couldn't really tell me anything. They just couldn't stabilise him. That's why they put him into this coma.
Did they think it was a stroke?
No, well, it was one of those things where, look, he was in a coma for about 2.5 weeks, and there was unfortunately no improvement. Didn't know what was going on. They were running tests. They didn't know what was happening. They couldn't stabilise him, and look, it was sort of, it was on knife's edge for a long time. We didn't know. A number of times I sort of said my final goodbyes to him. I didn't think he was going to make it through the night. My poor daughter's there as well, and she's still fairly young, and she sort of didn't know what was happening, and it was too much for her to bear. And I was sort of, trying to look after her as well. But I was sort of, my son was, in ICU, and literally hour by hour it was changing. And we, finally the doctors found he had some, did a bit of a scan of his lungs, and obviously because of a cystic fibrosis, and his lungs had been totally destroyed by some bacterial virus, and they still didn't know what it was.
Yep.
But they still didn't know how to treat it, and they couldn't, nothing was working. And finally they decided to bring him out. They bring him out of his coma, because they needed to. He'd sort of been in there for a fair while, and he started to come out. And then unfortunately he started to have a heap of seizures, and they had to put him back into a coma again for another week and a half. So it was one of those things, and still to this day we don't know what actually caused it. But it was looking like it was going to be an emergency lung transplant at one point. We didn't know whether he was going to make it, but look, the staff and doctors and nurses at PCH were just absolutely incredible for Kai and myself. And look, it's one of those miracle stories. He's pulled through, and look, he'll have some challenges in life still, obviously from what happened. But look, it's one of those amazing things where I'm just grateful that he's with us today.
So, Bart, you were thinking you wanted to do something challenging because of what Kai's been through in his life so far. Like, he steps up to the plate, and he fights, and he fights, and he fights. So you wanted to show you can do the same thing?
Absolutely. Look, it was probably twofold. I just went down there because I'd just been through so much. I just, I need to have a bit of a break for myself, and try and clear my mind a bit about, because at that point in time we still didn't know what the future looks like, and we're still, working through that at the moment with him. So I wanted to firstly just get a bit of an idea of, Kai has to deal with stuff every day, and he has medicine and physio every day, but he now has to do rehabilitation on his body because he had to learn to walk and talk again because he'd been in a coma for so long. And so I just wanted to experience something that was out of my comfort zone that I don't like doing. I didn't like swimming, and I'm not a very good swimmer. I'm a terrible swimmer, as everyone would know. And I wanted to experience doing something every single day that I didn't like doing, and put myself in Kai's position, in his shoes, to see what it was like to have to get up and do this. And it was important that I did do it. If I wanted to get to Rotto, I'd have to do it every day. He has to do it every day, to survive. And so I just wanted to put that, see what that felt like for him. And I'm only doing it for 6 months. He has it for his whole life. And then the other side of it is also wanted to show him that, obviously things have changed in his life now, and he probably can't do some of the things he was, he might thought he might be able to do. And I wanted just to show to him that, look, something that might seem impossible, that you can still strive for something, and whether you achieve it or not, it doesn't really matter, but you still go for your goals. And that's what I'm doing with Rotto. It's something to me that doesn't seem achievable. But I'm going to give it my best shot, and hopefully we'll get there.
Well, it's quite amazing, actually, because we all kind of started off on a base level, Bas, but you were starting from a real base level compared to most people with your stroke and stuff like that. I've done work on my stroke.
He's nicely insulting you, I think.
No, I don't want to. I'm not trying to do it, but you just worked and worked and worked, and last weekend you swam 12 Ks.
Yes, and that's the furthest it's done. Look, I've only ever swum. I have swum in the Port Pub before, but only in a team of 4 and 6, and in that you only do. The most you do is sort of about 600 or 700 metres at the end, and that's the first I've ever swum in my life, and it wasn't pretty. And I swum with the doggy paddlers back then, a team that's still going today. And
great name,
great name. So, look, I am a terrible swimmer, and all my friends used to always make jokes about it.
You're not anymore,
and they still make jokes about it. They still can't believe I'm attempting this. And the first, I think it was probably the second day, I was down at Kynman Squad and doing training, and we had everyone in the lanes. I think there was about 70 odd people in the lane. We had to do a 1 kilometre time trial, and so we all sort of start off in little waves, but we're all sort of often going within sort of 30 seconds of each other. And look, it's an amazing squad and whatnot, and they all get around you, and so a lot of people were finishing within 13, 14 minutes, and the last ones are coming in at sort of just over 20 minutes, and I'm still at the other end of the pool thing. So the whole squad comes over into my lane. There's 7 of them there, and they're all clapping and cheering as I'm coming in. And I'm still flapping my way through, trying to get to the end. And they all said, "Oh, well done, Bas." And I said, "Oh, sorry, guys, I've still got another 100 to go." So off I went again. So
you got 2 claps on the way.
I got 2 claps. It took me about half an hour to do that first 1 kilometre time trial. And look, I have progressed since then.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'd be nice to get those moments. And with some of the emotional challenges you've been through, how would you find that affects your drive to do a seriously long endurance event?
Yeah, look, and I've spoken with Shaun and lots of the people down there doing solo and stuff like that. Everyone's got a story behind them, and they're all incredible and all different motivations. And look, and mine is really, and look, I draw on Kai's experience a lot, and what we went through last year, and look, when it does get tough, and you go through really tough moments when you're swimming, and particularly long Ks, and this is really pushing my limits. And when I get in those tough moments, I just draw on that and think, look, Kai's had to do this his whole life, and he's pulled through something incredible, and that was just purely through fight and determination. And I'm sort of like, well, if he can do it, there's no reason I can't do it. So.
Well, we're not far away, mate. As I said, it's the start of the week. Saturday it all happens. Conditions are looking okay, and I don't want to jinx that by over-talking it.
He said it. That means bad news.
But can you visualise yourself, and this has taken me a long time to get here, can you visualise yourself getting to the sand at the other end in front of the Rottnest pub after swimming 20 kilometres?
I'm trying to. I'm trying my hardest. It's look, it's like I said, we did 12 kilometres last weekend, and I don't know how, but I somehow managed to get through that. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And look, but I'm starting to slowly believe that I might be able to achieve this. And I don't know what I'm going to look like when I get to the other end, and it's not going to look pretty. And it's and Kynman always says to us that you never regret a swim, and I'm not sure that I'll be saying that at the end of this, but it's look, I am starting to believe that I might be able to do it. And I'm sort of. Hopefully the conditions are nothing like they were 2 weeks ago, which was pretty tough. But I'm starting to slowly visualise what that might look like.
Well, you've done all the hard work, Bart. I've seen you day in, day out. You've been an absolute treasure to be in the swim squad. And I guess the other thing for people, like we're novices and we've joined this group, and you make some really good friends. And as you said, a lot of different stories and a lot of different motivations of people being involved in swimming at the moment, and certainly doing this challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I've made amazing friends and new people that I didn't know, and And like so, we got a little camaraderie with our lane 10, which is all the slow swimmers, and I'm certainly in that bracket. And our lane 10 is
Determined swimmers.
very determined swimmers, and we got a great little lane, and we all really get behind and support each other, and we're all novices, and I'm probably more so than anyone. And I'll share a brief story about my inexperience with swimming. And Shaun's got one now as well. We wear these suits, these super tight swimming suits.
Like a torpedo
yeah,
type?
sort of like a torpedo, and they sort of help you swim. And you can only wear them a few times. So the first time I got this suit on, it takes about probably 10-15 minutes to pull this on, and they're super tight, so you don't want to rip them or do anything. So a good friend of mine sort of said, "Oh look, we had our first swim down in Coogee," and I was like, I don't want to put it on the car. And he goes, "No, don't put it on the car. You don't want to accidentally rip it and whatnot." And so I thought, all right, I'll go down to Coogee. I'll just get in the change rooms down there, and I'll put it on before the race. It takes about 10 minutes, so that's fine. I'll give myself plenty of time. So I go down there, and there's no change rooms. There's only 2 toilets and a disabled toilet. And I thought, oh look, and everyone's queuing up for these toilets. I thought, oh geez, what do I do here? I'll dump in the disabled. No, it's not the right thing to do, but I'll quickly dump in there for 10 minutes.
Be quick.
I'll be quick. I'll put this thing on. Anyway, so I start to put it on, and once you put it around your ankles, it's pretty much like handcuffs on you because you can't move, and so you're wiggling and shaking for the next 15 minutes trying to get this thing on. And I didn't realise the disabled toilet didn't have a lock on it, and the door just pops open after 30 seconds, and I'm stark naked trying to put this thing on, and there's like 30 people there standing there laughing at me, and I'm like, oh no, and like I managed to sort of wiggle my way over to the door and shut the door, totally naked, and I finally shut the door, and highly embarrassed, and I start trying to pull it on again, and then it opens again and just keeps opening every 30 seconds.
Holy
and I was in such a panic, and I was like so embarrassed. Everyone's laughing, and I finally, after 10 minutes, and everyone's seeing me, and I finally just like get up to my waist, and I run down to the beach to get away from everyone, and get down to the swim group and said to one of the guys, look, can you just help me put this thing, put it over my shoulders and stuff? And he's like, oh, sorry, Bart, but you've actually put it on the wrong way. So I had to race back. And by this time, there's about 200 people there, and I went through the whole experience again. Caught totally naked, and it sort of it's given a bit of humour to the swim group and how much of a novice I am at this. But
do it in style.
Do it in style. But look, it's part of the journey, and it's made for fun times.
Yeah. Well, mate, the Port to Pub's going to be a great event, Ross. And meeting people like Barton, knowing their story about pushing themselves to the limits. I think that's what it's all about. And we've been speaking a lot over this series, actually, about people's stories and their motivations. And everyone's got the opportunity to draw on different stories in their life. And I don't think you don't get the chance to really draw on those stories or do something significant if you're not willing to put yourself out there. And I think
and you have big time.
You have.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm certainly putting myself out there, and it's even I run into friends now, and I say I'm doing a solo, and they laugh in my face, and like, yeah, you're kidding. Whatnot? No, I actually am. So
and you're doing it for yourself, aren't you?
I'm doing it for myself
and your family.
And my family, and look, and look, all the guys at the swim group, and they're all getting around me, and and I think you had Dean Kearns in here a few weeks ago, and he started in lane 10. He told me he started in lane 10, and
the determined lane, that is.
Determined lane, and look, he's swimming to the English Channel next year, and he's done all these amazing swims, and looking at him and all those leaders down there, they're always everyone's so supportive of, now a lot of people know my story now, and some of it doesn't matter. They're all just supportive, and they know that there is something driving you and motivating you, and they all get around you and behind you, and that's sort of one of the big pluses out of attempting this is just those friends and support
camaraderie, the community.
Yeah, absolutely, and that I've met through them, and and there's another group of 4 amazing girls that are doing swimming on behalf of the Perth Children's Hospital, who I'm good friends with, and Susie and Liz and Anna and Beige, and they're swimming and raising money for Perth Children's Hospital, which obviously is so close to my heart at the moment, and they're raising some amazing money for that, and it's just things like that just help inspire me to want to achieve this.
Some powerful motivation there. Thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate that, and we wish you the best. Whatever happens, wish you the best with your family. The swim itself, it kind of it makes it seem like more achievable when you're dealing with what you've dealt with. to what you're going to do. It'll be obviously very hard, but I'm sure you've been through challenges where you can apply it to that. And we if you make it or not, we're behind you.
No, you will make it, mate.
No,
You will make it. You swam 12 Ks the other week. You've done the Coogee 10K.
Hey.
I've got more faith in you making it than me half the time.
Actually, I
You're
back
gonna
that
dominate.
too. What Shaun said.
You're going to dominate, mate. And I cannot wait to see you walk up that sand, Barts. I cannot wait.
I don't know if I'll be walking up, but I'll somehow get up there. I might crawl up, but yeah, look, I'm excited to give it a go, and yeah, whatever happens, and I'm looking forward to that first beer at the Rotto pub afterwards.
Yeah, just I know Kyneman will listen to this at some stage. He always says you got to run up the last bit.
Yeah, okay.
No fucking chance am I running up.
Yeah.
It'll be the slowest walk up you've ever seen in your life.
Absolutely.
Good on you, Barts. Good luck.
Cheers, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.